Baffert use a speed horse to block other horses to seal the Triple Crown for Justified? Should the victory lap for championship teams no longer include the White House? And can a 2-block stretch of road downtown really be Tucson's most dangerous street? These stories and more next on the 520. Welcome to the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
I'm Artie Mata IV. Thanks for joining us.
And before we get started, we want to give some major props to ex-Wildcats and Golden State Warriors Steve Kerr, Bruce Frazier, and Andre Iguodala for winning the NBA title,
You gotta
baby.
give it to him. You gotta give it to
Also, major props to our man, Nogales native Bob Baffert for winning the Triple Crown, his second in 4 years. And I do want to give props to Artie Mata. My man is driving a NASCAR now. I don't know what this jacket is for, man.
My dad's in the Navy.
Oh, it looks like a NASCAR jacket.
Hey, no problem.
I
I'm
thought
safe.
No man bun,
I'm safe either way.
NASCAR jacket.
I'm safe
Let's go.
either way.
Speed
We'll
racers,
take it.
baby.
We'll take it.
All right. Well, did Bob Baffert, beloved U of A alum and Nogales native, cheat just a little bit to help Justify win the Belmont Stakes? Well, controversy erupted after Justify became the 13th horse to win the Triple Crown. Mike Ripoli, co-owner of Vino Rosso and Noble Indy, who came in 4th and last place respectively, laid those serious charges claiming Restoring Hope, also trained by Bob Baffert, blocked other horses from chasing down Justify.
And my first question, everybody, is, and if he did? I mean, those tactics are used in NASCAR, in cycling, in cross country. It's not a penalty. It's not a direct penalty. It's just a strategy.
And that's why the NASCAR joke.
And that's where the NASCAR joke is.
Because it is used in pretty much every sport. Sour grapes.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of Des caught it. He got turned in the 4th quarter. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Justified led from wire to wire. If any horse that was held back had any juice left in them, they should have been able to catch him and pass him within the last 200 yards. But they didn't. And that's a reason why there's only been 13 horses who have won the Triple Crown since 1875. I mean, Justify, a 4-legged phenomenal athlete. I can only think of one human being who's equivalent to Justify.
Bo Jackson.
Not Bo Jackson. No, this human being has 2 very strong legs and 2 very strong arms. Guess who he is? Michael Phelps.
That's a good one.
Won 8 gold medals, back-to-back Olympics, Athens and Beijing. That's how incredible it is to win a Triple Crown for a horse.
Even besides the tactics, the obstruction, we showed everyone the footage. Can anyone tell us that there was any direct obstruction from Raising Hope?
No.
Was there any direct obstruction? It's sour grapes. It's Des caught it. It's nothing now.
It is what it is. Justify is the Triple Crown winner. Get over it. And
Forever
guess what?
and ever.
Guess what? Justify is now the all-time most valuable horse in horse racing history. His owners paid $500,000 for him. Guess what he's worth now? $75 million just to be a stud. Oh, my next life. I'd like to be Justify.
How about that, Rim?
Hey, really quick, let's go ahead and take a look at our picks, because I want to point something out to you. I picked first Justify Bravazzo, and my long shot was Gronkowski. Okay, had I been smart, I would have picked what you picked.
And here we are with Justify, Gronkowski, and Bravazzo.
Had you bet on the 1 and 6 horse, $1 exacta, you know how much you would have won?
$75 million.
No, $440. Man, you should have placed that bet.
I should have placed that bet. That's a down payment.
All right, yeah.
On a $1,000 vehicle. Are the Phoenix Suns fans hating on DeAndre Ayton because he's a Wildcat? After working out for the Phoenix Suns, the ex-Wildcat said he was confident he'd be selected as a top pick, but ASU fans are talking trash, calling on the Phoenix Suns to take Duke's Marvin Bagley as the top pick.
True, the first player pick in the NBA draft is not always the best player, but in this case, you better believe DeAndre Ayton is the best player in this NBA draft. His upside is ridiculous. And what he can do for this Phoenix Suns team is going to be incredible, especially just take a look at what they need. They need to stop losing. 8 seasons of having a losing record is way too much. We're not used to this, and Ayton is going to be able to complement Booker and Josh Jackson. But let's just point something out really quick. Screw ASU fans. They suck anyway. And let's just be honest. Who do they have who's been significant in the NBA except for, okay, James Harden with the Houston Rockets? We'll give him credit on that. I'll give him credit that he is the best player to ever come out of Arizona up until this point. 5 years, it'll be Ayton. And remember, Lafayette Fat Lever, a native Tucsonan, played for Pueblo High School. That's all they have. We have a history of winning, including the Golden State Warriors, baby.
And as they come back down to earth, I agree with the ASU fans here. I think Marvin Bagley is a better pick. But if you're a losing franchise, if you're a failing program, how do you convince your fan base that DeAndre Ayton is a better pick? If you're DeAndre Ayton's position, it's not a leadership position. So because of that, I say they go take the free agency, see if they can get a seasoned veteran, put some finesse, more on the finesse part of the court. How does the Phoenix Suns convince their losing fan base, their losing program, this Arizona Wildcat
enough with dripping in finesse, okay? Enough with dripping in finesse. We need DeAndre Ayton.
It does make sense.
No, it's a dumb choice to pass on DeAndre Ayton. All right, well, it's time now for rapid fire. I fire off a local sports topic. Artie gives a rapid response. All right, CBS projects Arizona will miss the NCAA basketball tournament next year. Too early to be talking tourney?
Of course it's too early, but I'll tell you what, it checks out. I tell you what, it checks out. I think they're going to have a real good plateaued season this year.
By the way, ESPN has Arizona a 10th seed next year going in the Midwest round.
Bit of a stretch.
All right, Arizona Athletic Director Dave Hickey hired an assistant vice president and chief operating officer to assist him on running the athletics department.
I think this is a fantastic idea. It will turn the program into a cutthroat program. Business decisions need to be made for this program. I think it's a great idea.
More money waste. If your title is AD, you should be handling that, right? Well, did the Arizona Wildcats pull off the unthinkable by landing four-star quarterback Grant Gunnell for 2019?
And after watching the spring game, after landing Jamari Joyner, that's a stable at the quarterback position, of course, excluding Rhett Rodriguez. But how are they going to manage that?
He's going to shatter the Texas passing record.
Yeah, you got 3 Ferraris in your driveway. How do you pick which one you drive every day?
That's the point. Make them compete. You'll have a better team. Well, December's Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl will now be played on a Saturday with kickoff before noon as a lead-up to college football playoff semifinal games played later that day.
And after last year's overtime thriller, I say this is one heck of a decision. If they get a good marquee matchup, maybe one Power 5 team to play in that game, that'll be the only game on television. Great placement.
I serve on the advisory board of the bowl committee. I don't agree with this. And I say this.
There's too much Tucson in you.
Well, of course there's too much Tucson. You know why? Because for this bowl game to succeed, it's got to be about community and culture. On a Saturday morning, you're not getting enough community and culture in before the game because people aren't going to show up to watch football. That's secondary. It's not the Arizona Wildcats. All right? Well, Arizona baseball sets a record with 6 players drafted in the first 10 rounds of the Major League Baseball draft.
And you always have to take the MLB draft with a pinch of salt. I mean, we've seen Johnny Manziel get drafted in the MLB draft. So, I mean, of course, these fellas are good enough to play in AA, single A, triple A ball. Will they make it any further than that? It's completely up to them.
Jay Johnson should have done a better coaching job with that much talent. All right, Eagles and Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. The Arizona women's golf won the national title, and Justify and U of A alum Bob Baffert won the Triple Crown. A great year for the Wildcats?
I gotta agree with you on this one. Fantastic year for the Wildcats. Now they need to grab it by the haunches and take advantage of it.
You're getting smart.
Recruit everyone with this sales pitch. Alabama's doing it. Why the heck can't we do it?
Yeah. Has ex-Wildcat Steve Kerr become the leading voice on social issues? Well, even before Kerr's Golden State Warriors won their 3rd title in 4 years, it announced they'd forego the traditional White House visit. President Donald Trump reignited controversy over protests during the national anthem by disinviting the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles. Kerr stated, quote, "Instead, we have these military sing-alongs at the White House to show how patriotic we are, even though we don't know the words. It's just incredible," end quote.
And I do agree that these professional athletes, while they are making lump sums of dollars, they are being taken advantage of a little bit, and now we're down to get some of them getting their fundamental American rights stripped away from them. In the eyes of the elites, in the eyes of upstairs, these guys are invaluable. I'd like where Steve Kerr is going with this. He's making his players feel valuable, know that they're valuable, reminding them that they are important.
Look, when Steve Kerr talks honestly, America listens. He knows his issues. I mean, and especially when it comes to gun control issues, sadly, his father was assassinated in Beirut 34 years ago. So he has a voice, he has a passion. I think where his voice resonates more is with other athletes, okay? We're talking about the athletes such as Steve Nash now being vocal. LeBron James, who's now coming out and being extremely vocal. Unlike the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, who stayed completely out of politics, you got to give Steve Kerr so much credit for having the cojones to get out there and really put himself on that stage and be vulnerable for someone firing attacks or firing back at him.
And that's the thing about it, is that just like you said, when he talks, we listen. Us as fans listen, his players listen, other coaches are listening. He's setting an example, a perfect example in my opinion, and the journalists are doing a great job of having him field these questions, and he does a great job answering the questions.
You know who he's starting to remind me of a little bit? He's got this Muhammad Ali-esque in him. Why? Because he's not as flamboyant or anything, but just when he talks, it just resonates with you. It's powerful. And you gotta love it. You gotta love what he's doing.
I agree. I'll take it 100%.
All right. Well, take a look at this road right here. Go ahead.
This road right here is really the most dangerous stretch of road for bicyclists. A Chicago-based law firm, Rubens Crest and Mulholland, collected data from cities with a population of 500,000 or more to find the most dangerous roads for bike riders. Based on collisions, injuries, and fatalities, they've listed Congress Street from Scott to North 5th Avenue as Tucson's most dangerous.
You know, when you look at that stretch of road, I get it. I asked for statistics on it's just 2 blocks. And of course, it's going to be a while before we get statistics on how many collisions, fatalities, injuries. But I've talked to friends who say when they do ride their bicycle in this area, it's extremely dangerous because a lot of people are pulling over, opening their doors, their car doors, and bicyclists are just almost ramming into them, and it's just a very dangerous area. Overall in Tucson, though, if you were to take the same stretch of road and stamp it on every other section of road in this city, that's Tucson. It's the whole darn city that is dangerous, not just this area in downtown Tucson, because every night, what do we hear? Bicyclists getting hit.
Motorcyclists.
9 pedestrians have been killed this year so far. I mean, it's not just this section of road. It's everywhere, and it's pathetic. Tucson drivers suck. They're the worst, they're horrible, and they don't care.
And while it's this section of road is unlikely, pedestrians aren't the only unsafe ones there. The drivers, the bicyclists, the motorcyclists. These 2 blocks are way too dense. Not to mention that it's a good spot for parking. People are trying to parallel park their vehicles. They're trying to park. They're trying to pay, get the coins out of their car. It's completely too dense. Completely too chaotic.
And you had that problem going there today.
Yeah, I went there today. It was completely too chaotic. It's even crowded on the sidewalk.
Did you almost get hit by a car?
No.
Did you feel?
I paid attention.
As though your life were in danger?
It could have been. It could have been.
All right, well, let's jump into Do We Care? As you know, we love to tackle community issues and not just sports and ask ourselves, do we care? Well, after the media, including Snopes, debunked a viral conspiracy theory that claimed an abandoned homeless camp was being used for child trafficking and as a rape camp, the group Veterans on Patrol admitted that there was no evidence found to back their claims. Do we care? Any
amount of negative repercussions that this group sees after these claims are 100% deserved.
Amen.
Let it be a message. Let it trickle down to everyone involved and everyone who shares similar beliefs. You cannot adhere to your personal agenda on borrowed time.
They lied. It's pathetic. And I said it on the last episode of the 520. Unbelievable that a humanitarian group that does so much good for homeless veterans can come around and come back and do something so stupid and idiotic, all for political gains. They should be condemned. They should be slapped in the face. And really, honestly, I have no words to express how angry I am with something like this happening and it becoming a national story.
I agree.
Unbelievable, man.
The Tucson City Council is proposing a $225 million bond package that will pay to improve city parks at no extra cost to taxpayers. Do we care about this one?
I'm going to have to pull my hair out on this one. Look, if we can raise $225 million that this city doesn't have anyway, why not use that money to fix the roads? We can't drive to a city park without flattening a tire because we run over a pothole. Why would you want to put that money into upgrading parks? You know, we just passed a 1/10 sales tax to improve our zoo. And now we want to use some money that we could possibly gain on parks? Upgrading.
Absurd.
Guys.
And on my end, the parks don't need any improvement. The parks are doing fine. It doesn't cost $225 million to replace a basketball hoop and redo the sand on a baseball field. It's the homeless problems. It's the drug problems that are going on in those surrounding areas. Work on those problems. Give event planners discounts on space to have good citywide events.
When I was a kid, we were lucky to play ball with a net on the hoop.
And you had to send it upstairs to Mike Pereira to see if it went through the hoop without the net.
Exactly. Well, a group known as All Aboard Arizona plans to push an idea for the state to provide daily train service between Tucson and Phoenix. To avoid billions in costs, money the state doesn't have, the group is lobbying for Amtrak to provide that service. Do we care?
Yes, I think this is a great idea for all the wrong reasons.
Horrible idea.
For all the wrong reasons. I'd like it because it's going to put Tucson in a corner. It's going to force some improvements to be made. If that thing gets linked to the Phoenix airport, the Tucson airport will force to be changed because I think their airfare is terrible, their rates are terrible. It'll force them. It'll put them in a corner.
It's bad for Tucson, great for Phoenix. Have you ever traveled via Amtrak?
It's a little slow.
It's going to take you 4 hours to get there because Amtrak has to give the right-of-way to Union Pacific. So it's not a fast train. It's not something anyone's going to want to do.
A little more comfier than the Greyhound, though.
People from Phoenix are not going to want to come here to shop or have fun or do whatever and ride Amtrak. Not going to happen. Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. And I will get started. You might be asking yourself right now, what just happened? Did President Donald Trump really turn a de-nuking summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un into a photo op and a handshake deal? Do we really think we were on a path to nuclear war with North Korea? The president claims the deal may have saved 30 million lives. I'm not impressed. I call fake history. Strike a deal with one devil, but end a nuclear deal with Iran? What about saving 30 million more lives? Here's where I bring it full circle, all right? Let me remind you about Kim Jong-un. He's a totalitarian who kills members of his own family, kills his own defiers, starves and enslaves his own people. He's an international pariah who threatens to blow up the world. Now, it's an honor for Trump to meet Little Rocket Man, and he might just invite him to the White House? But it's not an honor to meet Americans who happen to play football or basketball and not invite them to the White House. We'll talk about injustice. I never thought I'd see the day when a tyrant would be raised on a pedestal above our own American athletes. I, along with millions of others, want to be like Mike Jordan, and damn sure not like Kim Jong-un. What happened to America first?
All about those big numbers. I got some big numbers on the sports side. Let's start with the number 5,000. The amount of former NFL players associated with a $1 billion lawsuit towards the NFL involving concussion protocol. Now, I've already been blamed by Steve for enjoying the softness in the game, and you're not going to hear from me about how they need to get rid of helmets and get rid of kickoffs and increase the fines. Instead, I'm just going to tell a story. Joe Montana needs no introduction. Claims he now needs help getting out of bed in the morning. He has to see a doctor 3 times a month for pain in his joints, can't go on a walk for more than half a mile, and he just turned 62 years old. We can only imagine it's going to get worse from here. While reciting this to a radio host, the host then asked Joe, "Joe, knowing everything you know about your condition, would you do it all again, even without all the Super Bowls?" And in a smear of a second, Joe answers, "In a heartbeat. Say the word and I'm there." While there have been numerous practices reduced in the game, what hasn't is the love for the sport. I won't vouch that that will overpower chronic pain, but I will vouch for the very reason that these players stepped onto the field and hope that they remembered why they were there.
Well said. And I agree. You know, it's sad that there are repercussions such as concussions and the syndromes that it creates later on in life. But we're adults. And if you choose to play the sport, you have to understand the consequences.
Of course.
Especially today, because athletes are bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and those collisions are much more devastating.
And I always compare it when I'm talking about this, I compare it to the police force. Copper mining, there's a liability going into that.
Correct.
As you know.
If you want to be a police officer in today's world, you better know that you're getting into a dangerous situation probably every day.
Of course, I agree.
I mean, we've had, what, officers, several officer-involved shootings in just the last couple of weeks, including a Border Patrol agent who was shot today.
Recently, yeah.
So,
and they understand the liability of it.
Yes, they do. All right, well, before we go, take a look at this video. Gronkowski cheering on Gronkowski, the horse, at the Belmont Stakes. Oh, he almost won that race. Gronkowski, the horse, actually came back from last place to almost catch Justify and win the Belmont Stakes. And guess what? You know what's better about this story?
Gronk can sit anywhere in the arena and he'll be able to see?
No, Gronkowski bet $69. Why? Because 6/9, June the 9th, was the Belmont Stakes, and of course his jersey number, right? Guess how much he won? $940 for that one bet.
That's incredible.
It's a great story. And did you hear what Gronkowski the horse did after the race?
He spiked the football.
And chugged a beer.
I'll take it. He did a keg stand.
Well, that does it for this episode of the 520. Our goal is to tell it like it is, because it's all about giving voice to opinions, even if you don't agree.
Be sure to follow the 520 on Facebook and on Twitter at the 520 Tucson.
And if you have a topic you want us to cover, send us an email at the 520@KVOA.com. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Marty Mata IV. Join us next week on the 520.
Go Cats.